Today I share the 3 steps you need to take to be a registered psychologist in Singapore. Hi, this is Kenneth. So psychology has been quite popular in recent years, with many students aiming to get into psychology programs at universities. Whether it's for the status or the desire to help society, the fact remains, psychology is a tough course of study with a longer than average pathway towards becoming fully registered and workforce ready. So I'll just say this outright. If you're looking to make a career switch to become a registered psychologist, the pathway may be really long because you may need to start from the beginning. So step 1, getting a bachelor's degree in psychology. So this is a critical entry point because to get registered, you need to complete a master's in applied psychology, and all the programs require you to have a background in psychology itself. So if you have a degree in mass communication, PR and journalism, a PhD in materials engineering, you won't qualify. You have to start from the beginning and complete an undergraduate program. So as I've mentioned, since the pathways for the US, UK and the Australian systems don't really integrate well, course selection is really important. If you're going for the Australian route, make sure the degree is accredited by the Australian Psychology Accreditation Council, or APAC. So one thing to keep in mind is, APAC actually accredits the programs in the specific campuses. So they actually differentiate between the psychology program in, say, an Australian campus versus one in a Singapore campus. Make sure the course you're taking is accredited in that specific campus. So on to step 2, you might need to complete an honours program. There's quite a bit of confusion on this owing to the local university system. So in Singapore, honours tends to refer to a level of academic achievement, whereas in Australia, the honours programs are usually a research degree that you enroll into after completing your bachelor's degree. So it's a research program versus academic achievement. They are both called honours, but they mean different things. So once again, if you're looking at the Australian system, make sure the program is APAC accredited. And on to step 3, getting the Masters in Applied Psychology. This is where it gets tricky. So the keyword here is applied, which means the program must have a practical component. When it comes to clinical psychology, a quick glance at the National Council of Social Services website will show you that there really is only 2 programs recommended locally in Singapore, one by the National University of Singapore and the other one by James Cook University. Of course, if you're looking at counseling psychology or educational psychology, there are other universities they recommend. Once again, if you are looking to enroll into James Cook University, which is an Australian university, you need to have an APAC accredited honours degree. So as mentioned in step 2, not all honours degrees are the same. As I mentioned earlier, the US, UK and Australian systems don't integrate too well. So there's a popular US psychology degrees program with honours taught out of a private institute in Clementi that doesn't meet the APAC requirements. Likewise, there's also a popular UK psychology honours program taught out of a private institute located in Queenstown that don't meet the requirements for APAC accreditation. So one thing to look out for is the difference between the Singapore Psychology Society membership and the Singapore Register of Psychologists registration. The eligibility for the SPS membership varies quite a bit. For example, the student membership only requires you to be a student in a psychology program. On the other hand, they also have a full membership which requires you to have completed a master's in psychology and completed about 400 hours of supervised practicum. For the SRP registration, you need to have completed a master's in applied psychology, which includes 1,000 hours of practical training. Counseling qualifications are not accepted. So if you go to a university and ask the program consultant, is this course going to make me eligible for SPS membership? Sure, it's probably going to make you eligible. What you should be asking instead is, does this course make me eligible to register in the Singapore Register of Psychologists? So remember to ask the right questions. But before I end off, just take note, if you're enrolled into a program that doesn't make you eligible for SRP registration, all hope is not lost. So the practice of psychology is not regulated in Singapore. It's actually stated on the SPS website. They say anyone may call themselves a psychologist and practice. You just won't be able to get yourself registered. But in my humble opinion, this makes registration even more important.